Another solo laner that can be swapped either top or mid lane. So these two solos could bounce back and forth inside of FlyQuest. We'll have to wait and see where that goes, but the Kha'Zix pick definitely going into the jungle there to deal with that Camille. We'll see if Santorin can pop off on that one and really make things happen. This is one of the premier carry junglers in the meta right now.
It really is, yeah, and I think that when you think back to last year, a lot of the best games for Santorin did come on Kha'Zix, where he had some incredible carry performances. It's kind of funny, though, that we do see Pobelter actually taking Lysandre. Yesterday it was Crown that played that, so today Crown is going to have his shot at trying to counterpick it. Power of Evil did bring out the Xerath yesterday against him. That counter matchup did not really work out for Power of Evil, so excited to see what Crown shows us.
And of course, you're seeing a lot of mid laners these days in the solo queue environment, in the preseason environment, talking about playing against the Aftershock Lysandre and its ability to very effectively nullify the laning phase. You're not going to get to pop off. You're not going to get to snowball and build a lead against Aftershock Lysandre. She's nigh impossible to kill. Between the Aftershock defenses, the ability to get away with the claw, the ability to ult yourself, you have to invest so many resources there. So we'll see if they can take them down, but it will be their work cut out for them on the side of OpTic. As we get into the second part of the bans here, Alistar banned out by OpTic, FlyQuest removing the Syndra.
Yeah, probably going to see another mid lane ban for FlyQuest as well, unless they're really concerned about something, down in the bot lane role. But my guess is it would be another mid laner. Yeah. Try to protect Pobelter, try to protect that Lysandre pick if it's going to be there. Obviously, they can still flex things around. We could see Aurelia mid. We could see Lysandre top, which is going to make it more difficult for OpTic to actually try to select their last pick. But we do have to consider Sion theoretically could be mid. We just haven't seen nearly as much of it, though. Over in the LCK, you do see that.
And you will see FlyQuest actually pay some respect to the bottom lane of OpTic Gaming. They're deciding to ban away the Xayah, keep that one away from Asta, and the Zoe will be the pickup for OpTic Gaming.
Yeah, very interesting. Zoe definitely does have the range advantage here. If you're going up against that Lysandre, you can look to poke it out, but Zoe can be fairly susceptible to getting taken down by Lysandre plus Kha'Zix, especially post 6. Zoe is very squishy, does rely a lot on how evasive she can be. The speed boost when you're popping your W, obviously the ultimate to dodge out of skill shots, but Lysandre ultimate plus an assassin jumping in on you can be very, very deadly. So we'll see how Crown is going to be able to perform on this. And JJ going back to the Ornn support once again here.
And we saw him have a lot of good ultimates and initiations with that previously. The range that the champion can initiate from to set up the rest of your champions, to allow the Irelia to go in with the Vanguard's Edge, to allow the Lysandre to make her way in there with the Glacial Path into that Frozen Prison. It's so easy for these guys to wombo combo that, and we'll see how OpTic Gaming deal with it. They will pick up the Sivir for AD carry, meaning you have some protection against that CC with a spell shield, but there's a lot of things you're going to have to shield against.
Yeah, there is a lot coming out, and we will see how he's going to be able to perform. Piglet looked pretty good on the Sivir yesterday, so Asta having a really good game for himself, I believe, on Ezreal. Will have another shot to impress here in day 2 of the LCS. Sivir also, though, going to work well alongside the Sion, the Camille, the Rakan, boosting their speed with that ultimate, going to be allowing them to find more engage. And FlyQuest, while the composition certainly is quite a different look than what they ran yesterday, it's still a lot of going in. It still is a lot of engage. The Ornn, we can see Lysandre diving in, Aurelia, Kha'Zix all jumping in. Kai'Sa has the ultimate to follow up there as well if they do land any of that CC. So both these compositions really do look like they want to go forward. Both teams are kind of trying to do the same thing, with maybe Zoe as the exception, who is looking more for poke.
And that's what it comes down to. When you're both trying to play the same game, it's all who executes it better, who can set up the map in a way that makes it so they're the ones dictating the momentum, dictating the pace of the game, being the ones deciding, all right, this is where the next fight is going to be, because that gives you so many more advantages. When both sides are laden with these initiation tools, when both sides have everything in the arsenal to decide this is when we press the go button, it's all about who sets it up to just have that slight advantage that gives them the win.
Yeah, that means lane phase, early jungle pathing can be so incredibly important. So we will see who is going to get the edge here. Will it be Santorin? Will it be Dardoch?
And that's a fun matchup to see, Isdale, because Santorin, we've talked about this guy, how he's had a lot of pop-off moments for his team, although he's never really been the guy on the teams he's been on in the past who's been given the credit for all the wins. Going up against Dardoch, who's always been a big fan favorite in the LCS, someone who people want to see play, they want to see him pop off. One of these guys, I hope they can manage to do it and really start getting something going this game.
Yeah, I mean, Dardoch has a lot of fans. He's an explosive player. He's an explosive personality. And it does really make him an exciting guy to watch.
It looks like bottom side. We're going to see a little bit of action here at level 1. Turtle going to be forced back. Yeah, you're not really too worried about that one. No summoner's blown or anything there, but Turtle will have to take an extra journey home here. Just play the KDA song for a second, get on back to base, and everybody else will just be hanging out in the river, so no real time or energy lost there.
Yeah, not too big of a deal. Will force out the ward defensively, but still not really going to matter. Pretty standard stuff for the level 1. Going to be excited to see how Viper does perform up on the top side against Alorum. You know, that is someone who can pair up very well with Dardoch to actually set up those ganks. Sion does have a lot of CC, a lot of slows. And if Viper gets behind on the Aurelia, you can start to become pretty worthless in matchups like this, where Sion can just brawl with you, can just look to kind of face tank you with those face stats.
And the interesting thing about this top lane matchup, I mean, these guys have played against each other plenty of times before in the Academy League. I mean, last season, they spent an entire year just going head-to-head against each other, and so a lot of experience, a lot of history between these two playing versus one another. We'll see how they can manage to make that happen here on the LCS stage. Red buff start for both junglers, and we'll see them path towards the bottom side there, at least for the side of Dardoch, as Santorin will go ahead and stay on the bottom side himself, clearing out the Krugs, which are worth so much EXP, so you want to take those out as quickly as you can. Make sure that you're making sure you have that quick cycle on the EXP, the best camp for that. And that bottom lane Scuttle Crab could be a point of contention. We'll see if Santorin wants to head towards it or if he just concedes that one to Dardoch.
Yeah, also worth noting that there was a zombie Foro actually placed over by a gate, getting really low. Wow, level
very
1,
early flash,
having to flash out, but they have their blue covered with that zombie ward, which is pretty smart placement for the level 1. Just an additional thing. They're going to know if Dardoch does come over there to counter jungle, so it allows Santorin to safely do a full 3-camp clear and know that Camille is not going to be waiting for him over in that brush.
Right.
So he can walk clearly over to the blue buff. But they may meet up here actually at that topside scuttle, because Dardoch is trying to go scuttle to scuttle. Santorin does have a level advantage though, so we'll see if Dardoch is going to be confident to do this.
Dardoch has a blue buff while his opponent only has the red.
Crown has the push both,
but yeah, Crown has push. Level 3 versus level 2, level 3, and it looks like FlyQuest is going to decide this fight isn't worth it. They'll just concede the second Scuttle Crab as well, so good start there for Dardoch, making sure he controls both of those. Give him a nice little bit of a EXP and gold lead as he will continue to move in towards the jungle of Santorin. Bottom side, JJ setting his time to go for a fight here yet again. Going to be taken very low. First blood over to the side of OpTic as Turtle now has to try to get himself out. Has to flash, heal still available, gonna be taken rather low here, but will not have to use the other summoner, and FlyQuest just go too deep.
Yeah, JJ just gets bursted down, or not very tanky, in those early levels compared to before, because you don't have the W shield anymore, so decides to try to go for this play. Does just have the QE. It's a really nice double knockup, but ends up kind of just baiting them. As you see, he gets knocked up, both sides of the boomerang blade hit, plus the ignite, and he just gets absolutely shredded. So first blood going on to Asta on this Sivir, off to a great start once again.
Good recognition from the side of OpTic. They could turn that around so easily as well. There was no hesitation there to just go ahead and say, okay, Ornn's going in. Not sure why. Turn around and burst this guy down.
Yep.
Easy pickup. First blood over to OpTic. But the gold is still even between the two teams, because when you look at the farm, when you look at the actual economy of everybody, it's pretty even, slightly favoring the side of FlyQuest. So nothing too super worrying just yet. JJ will have to be a little bit careful. Of course, Turtle not having the flash could be a signal for Dardoch to look towards bottom lane more here as well.
Yeah, you can see Viper feeling pretty uncomfortable in this situation. He's actually just bleeding out some of this farm because he doesn't know where Dardoch is. He doesn't feel comfortable to actually dash in, not knowing if Camille is just out of vision right behind him. And we know that Dardoch is actually basing, but he's going to be giving up some of this farm. He's allowing it to push in, which is a really good spot for the Sion to be able to hold it just in front of your turret like this. Is going to feel really, really good for Laura.
I mean, when you're a Sion, you're not looking to get yourself any kills in lane. As long as you can farm up, get stacks on the W, build up that health, and transition yourself towards that giant meatball status in the mid game, you are perfectly content. And right now, that's exactly where Alorum is sitting, all tied up on the CS with his opponent. As Viper goes back to base, we'll have the TP to return there into the top lane. TP, of course, taking a hit. Recently, you see a lot of top laners in your solo queue games not opting for that anymore, but in competitive play, it's still such an incredible tool to have in terms of overall macro presence and ability to move around the map. Both these guys will be wielding now.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much, as you say, about the macro play, especially in the later stages of the game. If someone is in a side lane and your team is pressuring around Baron and you have Ignite, you cannot match that. It becomes very difficult to play around that. In solo queue, it's much more win-win win game style. And
Right.
Ignite is incredibly powerful in that 1v1. So, you know, in competitive play, definitely seeing a lot more of the teleports. But, you know, Viper playing it out smart. He's a player that I think, you know, a lot of people weren't expecting as much from, and, you know, really did have a solid game yesterday on the Saya. Now bringing out the Aurelia is going to have to kind of play the other side of that matchup, and really excited to see how he's going to perform on the carry here.
Yeah, the carry is a much more interesting gauge of how well he performs, too, because it's kind of what Hai said on the desk. Sion isn't the most intense champion, the one that you can demonstrate the greatest expression of skill with.
Except on Sion Speedway.
Except on Sion Speedway, of course. Your main job on normal Summoners Rift Sion is to walk up and get shot by everything so your teammates do not. However, on the Irelia, you have the opportunity to show off some fancy footwork, some outplay potential. So we'll see if his Riven days have him blessed with those sorts of mechanics. As OpTic move towards this first Drake, it's Gate finding a knockup down onto JJ, who does still have his flash from earlier. Dardoch going for a long-range engage. He's got the flash into the stun, and Gate will pick up the second kill of the game here for OpTic.
Really nicely done there. Gate hitting the knockup, actually canceling out on the charge, and then Dardoch, despite having low HP, gets shielded up by Gate, goes in for the E-Flash. They pick up a second early kill here on JJ, and then they're going to be able to cash in on a turret plate. So really nicely done here in the early stages for OpTic. And as you say, Sion certainly is more forgiving, and another really big reason for that is simply you can just ult back to lane. It's almost like a second teleport, and that is one of the big reasons a lot of pros give for this champion being so forgiving in the laning phase, because you push him out once, he TP's back. You push him out twice, he's probably 6, he ults back to lane, right? And you can kind of cycle through that. So excited to see what Viper can get done for his team here on the road.
And as we look towards the mid lane here, you're going to see Pobelter just pushing things out, working towards getting that Proto Belt first item on Lissandra, providing more burst, providing more clear opportunities even if need be, while the Zoe will, of course, be working towards the Luden's Echo, bolstering that one-shot potential that Zoe is just notorious for, and that's what you're going to see a lot of OpTic doing towards the mid-game, is fishing for the opportunities to make those trouble bubbles really sing.
Yeah, definitely the case. And it is worth mentioning, you know, as we talked about in Champ Select, how vulnerable the Zoe can be to CC. That's why Crown is playing Cleanse. You know, not going to allow himself to just get locked up by one Pobelter ultimate and go down. Still is the potential to dive on and, you know, maybe get a root into an ultimate or something, some sort of chain to actually knock him down, but will be much more evasive with that. And
especially if Santorin gets involved. We haven't really seen much out of Santorin yet. We only saw that almost scuffle over the second Scuttle Crab, but considering he opted out of that, he's really avoided any sort of PvP content in the game for the first 8 minutes. Just going through that PvE experience, farming it up. We'll see. Now he does have the ultimate, so that enables him to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge in throughout the fights a little bit better. So maybe that's his opportunity to get involved somewhere. Did go with the Claw evolution first, as is pretty standard. So he'll have that extra cooldown on isolated targets. It makes it very easy to solo the Drake as well, but OpTic maintains control over the bottom half of the map pretty handedly, and they'll head back in there to the pit once again.
yeah, and I think what tipped them for this is simply that Crown is going up to take the blue buff, so they know this Fly, you know, is going to have both their mid laner and their jungler up on that top quadrant, passing over that blue buff, leashing it, so triggers them to start it up, and JJ may be in trouble here again. 1v3.
Once again, moving up, trying to stop things, but he's way too far forward, and he's just more free money for the side of OpTic.
I'm not sure what JJ thought he was going to get done there, honestly. I mean, great, you see that they're doing the dragon, but you kind of already know that. They were on a ward, and he's by himself. He's not level 6, so if you show up, what are you going to accomplish with this? Your team is not there, so JJ definitely going in too early. Will be going down once again. 3 early deaths for him on the Ornn, having a bit of a rough laning phase on that side.
He's definitely going to need to clean things up here going into the mid-game.
Yeah, I mean, so they see them on the dragon, right? So he's moving up, but Crown is going to be first to move. You know your jungler's on the top side. You know your mid laner is still in mid lane. Asta is closer to you than your bot laner. You know, what are you really trying to accomplish there?
Yeah.
You know, maybe he just kind of lost track of where his teammates were. You know, the comms may have simply been, okay, let's collapse on dragon, and he wasn't really tracking where they were, but either way, will give up a kill. They do dissuade OpTic from finishing that dragon again, though, and the gold lead isn't too big, so
about 1K.
Not that big of a deal just yet.
And as we crest the 10-minute mark, you are going to see that stopwatch come online for Dardoch. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I believe this is the single most important item to track in early game and early mid-game skirmishes in League of Legends. It can single-handedly turn the outcome of a fight, and you can see one available on both Dardoch and Crown on the side of OpTic, while bottom side, A 2v2 breaks out yet again. Gate trying to go in with the quickness. Not going to find a whole lot of success off of that one. While top lane, it's Viper grabbing himself a little bit of a trade against Alorum, but Alorum, with both pieces of that Sunfire tape, pretty tanky, pretty hard to kill. Crown able to find tons of damage with the Paddle Star. Can he chase Pobelter down and get the last little bit?
No ultimate still.
Forward. POV going to be forced into the self-ulti on that one as Alorum will grab the 4th kill of the game for OpTic there in the top side. OpTic going to be looking for even more blood now, going after Santorin, forcing the ultimate out of the FlyQuest jungler as well. And OpTic is making moves across the map.
That was insanely close. Pobelter was actually just mashing the self-ultimate. It was on cooldown until the split second that he used it there. So if it came up and even a second or two later, Crown may have been able to finish off that kill. So very close call for him in that mid lane, but does get out. 200
IQ for sure on that one. Had to be calculated as Dardoch will now clean up this Rift Herald, grab even more control over this game here for the side of OpTic. Santorin and FlyQuest seeing the opportunity to go for the Drake that their opponents were unsuccessfully going after earlier. First Drake being Ocean is pretty useful, of course. It's not super early, so it's not like you're going to have it for the entirety of laning phase. 12 minutes into the game, laning will be ending soon. But let's take another look at how the kill happened onto Viper here in the top side.
Yeah, they do know that he is roaming down. Dardoch finding the engage, lands the stun, setting up the ultimate there, and Alorum can flash on it. Not much for Viper to really do there. Once you get hit by that stun, you're locked up for so long. So a good catch by Dardoch, and honestly off to a very good start. You know, he's been pressuring around the Dragon. You know, certainly deserves credit for a number of those deaths that JJ has received. Yep. Now catching out Viper on the top side as well, and that's going to put Alorum to his early Sunfire completion. And it's going to be very, very tough to actually brawl up against this grass Sunfire Scion this early in the game. He's just so damn tanky.
It's what we talked about yesterday in the Scion matchup. It's just a matter of, does your damage mean anything against this guy? And if he's able to hit those tankiness breakpoints before you hit yours for damage, well, good luck doing anything to the guy. You're pretty much going to sit under turret, wait for him to walk up, EQ clear the wave, then you clear it, and welcome to absolute nothing town.
I mean, Aurelia has 1400 HP. Alorum has just about 2400 HP at this point.
Yeah, it's
that's
quite
pretty insane. Yes, Conqueror is adding true damage. Yes, there is, you know, an element of kind of outplay there that maybe the Aurelia can dodge around some of the, you know, the Qs and blah, blah, blah. But at a certain point, it just doesn't matter. Like,
at a certain point, you're not killing this guy.
He's just standing there missing everything and autoing you, and you're just dying. Just
like, all right, not going to work. Sorry. Oh, man, mid lane, though. Let's see if Dardoch can make something happen. Crown goes for the trouble bubble, but Pobelter's not feeling too sleepy just yet. Battlestar is going to finish out clearing out the rest of the wave. Crown walking towards Santorin there in the rush. Going to take a little bit of damage, but Dardoch's going in, coming up from behind. Crown barely getting himself away for now. Is going to be forced to return to the location. Goes into the stasis. Not going to get himself away. Viper finds the first kill of the game here for FlyQuest.
Really well played there from FlyQuest. Santorin in particular getting such a big chunk down that actually dodging out with his ultimate, with that invisibility, any of that return damage. So really nicely played. And despite the fact that Crown had a great stopwatch to actually avoid the Ornn ultimate, he does still go down.
Good to see FlyQuest able to bounce back, find themselves something after a pretty shaky early game. Still only down not even 1,000 gold in this one, so definitely still within their reaches to be able to come back and take things over as we approach the mid-game. Stopwatch down on Zoe, also very important, means that she doesn't have that tool next time. But remember, Crown, still with both those summoner spells up, will have some answers if they try to continue to collapse on him here in the mid lane.
Yeah, it's definitely the case. Now, I find Stopwatch to be so interesting because it's such a high variance item, right? Like, when used effectively, it can completely change the outcome of the game.
It wins an entire team fight, wins an entire game, right?
Exactly, and when used poorly, it really does nothing for you. So I really do like seeing this at pro level, seeing how well they can use it, and also seeing players be punished when they use it poorly, because you do sometimes see those fights where it's like 3v1 and the person just stopwatches, and you're like, well, what are you kind of doing there?
A good stopwatch wins the game of League of Legends. A bad stopwatch gives your opponents 2.5 seconds to spam emotes before they kill you.
Start dancing a little bit, break
just having a good time with it. So that time, unfortunately for Crown, it bought a couple of extra seconds, and there might not have been time to emote considering there were some other abilities flying around, but he still found himself back on the spawn platform with a black and white screen. So not where he wanted to be, but still in an all right spot here. Does have a little bit of a CS advantage up over his opponent. Has managed to hit that Luden's Echo, so will have a very effective poke as the game continues. Santorin level 10 here on the Kha'Zix, Dardoch level 9 both looking towards mid lane.
And Dardoch's got to drop the Rift Herald. It's about to expire. So, you know, he has to channel it now. And, oh, Crown getting a huge chunk on Pobelter. May mean they're able to knock down this turret. Let's see.
Shelly's strutting up. Kneel down, roar, charge. All right, takes it pretty low. Low's not quite going to do it, though. Santorin wants to move up and try to stop this, prevent this turret from being taken for free. Crown's trying to make sure he can't accomplish that objective. More members from OpTic coming around now. You've got Gate hanging around. You've got Alorum off to the side. You've got Dardoch looking to go in. Pobelter going to CC him. Stasis coming out there through the stopwatch. Horn is sounded. Dardoch knocked up into the air. Viper coming around from the side. Going to be intercepted from Alorum. Gate goes in with the quickness. Able to find the knock-up onto JJ. Takes him very low. The Ignite will tick in for the turn and burn. It's Gate getting the kill. 4th death of the game for JJ.
Really nice force there from OpTic. They drop the Rift Herald. All 5 members show up. They're able to force down the turret, and that was a great stopwatch from Dardoch. You actually heard the animation coming out from Pobelter's ultimate, so he was able to actually cancel the ultimate cast there from Pobelter, avoiding Lissandra ult, allowing himself to get out. They get a kill, they get the tower, and OpTic gonna feel great about that series of plays.
That's a good stopwatch. That's one of those stopwatches that you're like, man, I'm really glad I had that thing. Let's take another look at how it happened.
That's a Rolex. Right?
Yeah.
That's a nice one. And here it is. So Ray, I don't know if you could actually hear it on that replay, but you can hear the cast animation there from Pobelter, you know, trying to hit that ultimate onto Dardoch, take him down, but Dardoch nicely timed on the stopwatch. The Ignite plus the poke from Crown is going to be enough for JJ to grab his 4th death of the game. And I've got to say, Crown has been looking really good, has been landing so much poke, creating an incredible amount of pressure here, I would say, around the mid lane and in a lot of these fights.
And you can see one reason why the gold in the game has been kept as close as it has, despite everything seemingly going OpTic's way so far. 5 turret plates taken by FlyQuest early on. OpTic grabbing themselves 1. 14 minutes in, that's when they all fell, so there's no more to get anymore, but FlyQuest are finding themselves falling further and further behind. 1,500, 2,000 gold now. Starting to lose control a little bit as OpTic will look towards this turret in the bottom side. Only about 10% HP left on that one. Austin Gate gonna push up, look to maybe put those last couple of hits on it. 1, 2, 3, it's out of there, and that is a 2-0 turret lead for the side of OpTic Gaming.
Yeah, things looking really good. The top lane turret is also very low, and they have the Mountain Dragon, so not gonna be too hard to knock that down if Alorum can get up to it.
That was almost an unwelcome nap there for Pobelter. Good job stepping right underneath the trouble bubble. Bottom side, Turtles just trying to farm up here on the Kai'Sa. Stormrazor completed, but nothing else really to write home about. Kai'Sa will need a couple of items before she really becomes that big, scary team fighter. Same can be said for Sivir, of course. Both these AD carries have such incredible scaling potential as the game goes on. We'll see if either of them can get to the point where they have that 1v5 type of moment, but we're still a way away from that.
Definitely are. I mean, most people would look at Sivir and generally say, once you have your IE, you know, that 3rd item is really when you start turning online, getting those ricochet crits. For Kai'Sa, I do think that you can kind of have more effectiveness earlier. When you complete the Rage Blade, I would say really Kai'Sa can start having a pretty huge effect. And FlyQuest is kind of closing in on Dardoch over at this red buff. We'll see if they want to make a move.
Santorin level 11 here, does have the 2nd evolution. Puts some real damage down onto Dardoch, wants to go over the wall. The horn goes off, but it's not even needed. Santorin turns him into some bug food, says, thanks for the leash, bro. I'll take the red on my way out. Claws that one down. JJ waits for him, and the blast cone sends him home.
That was really nicely done there. Good play around the vision. They get Dardoch's flash. They do get the kill as well. Santorin now level 11. He has a lot of farm here also, and he's going to be really, really strong if he can actually find the right targets, guys like Crown or Asta, and get that damage down. There certainly is the follow-up from the rest of the team to burst them out.
And Santorin being level 11 on the Kha'Zix now also is a very important breakpoint for the champion because it makes him useful in grouping up. Having the rockets, having that massive slow when you're able to land that poke, gives him a utility that most assassins don't have in terms of just standing there face-to-face with your opponents and firing abilities back.
Yeah, definitely the case. He's on his Dustblade now too, right? So the burst is just going to get bigger with the evolution on the claws that he already had. Now he has that evolved W. Dustblade is complete. And you know, one of the really kind of underrated things about the Dustblade is the vision potential, the vision denial. It allows you to know when you're sneaking into a situation, do they have eyes on you? Have they spotted you moving into this position? And that alongside a sweeper is going to mean Santorin can certainly look to set up some very sneaky plays.
All right, Pobelter has himself another blue buff. He's got his double spell pen items. He's got his proto belt. He's got another blasting wand on top of it. This Lissandra should be pretty scary, especially if he can get himself in the middle of multiple people, find an ultimate that hits a lot of OpTic targets at the same time. But it's still OpTic who have the gold lead for now. Still only about 1,000 gold, though. This game not running away to either side. We are past 20 minutes, so Baron is available. Santorin 2 levels up on Dardoch now. Just hanging around, seeing if maybe Dardoch wants to come around the side here. Now. If Dardoch walks too close to this rush, things could turn nasty real quick. But instead it's Santorin, who's going to be read like a book. The paddle star's coming in. That's a paddling. Dardoch takes the kill.
Crown just read that completely. The blind. Sleepy Bubble Trouble just hits him right there and follows him over. That was incredible. That was just a really smart play there from Crown. And honestly, smart for OpTic to be grouping up like that before they're checking into this location. You see that mistake made a lot of times where players, you know, are getting overconfident. They walk in by themselves, and had that been Dardoch by himself, he would have probably died to Santorin. Instead, it's a 3-man squad. They get a free pick, and JJ's ultimate is down trying to defend Santorin. So, really nice play here from OpTic and their teamwork. Again, really looking to impress.
Hear that, ladies and gentlemen? The next time you're playing solo queue, take a lesson from OpTic Gaming. Instead of typing WTF, Casso, OP, ask your teammates to check that brush
Your
with you
teammates aren't going to help you.
Ping them until they do. Very important.
Okay.
FlyQuest have now found themselves in a spot where once again, OpTic seem to be in control. About 2,000 gold ahead, shoving the waves up. You can see some wards being placed down, especially in the top side of the jungle here of FlyQuest. OpTic saying, look, man, we got Zoe, we've got a Camille, we've got plenty of tools to pick these guys off with. Let's make them afraid to go into their own jungle.
Yeah, and post 20 minutes, you have a Mountain Dragon. You can start to play around that Baron, but they're looking for a flank here. This is a very deep TP coming in here from Viper.
Is this the collab that FlyQuest need? Pobelts are going in, looking to find the Proto Belt into a 3-man room. POB has the initiation. TP also going to be coming in now from the side of OpTic, off the side. Can the health bars be evaporated in time? Viper's going to be taken very low. It's Dardoch already taken down. Santorin coming in, cleaning up yet another. Alorum at half HP. He'll tank as long as he can, but FlyQuest have already won the fight. Crown's going to try to provide some artillery fire, but OpTic have to retreat.
Nicely done there from FlyQuest. The long TP play comes in from Viper. They do get the 2-for-1. But the rest of the OpTic members are able to escape. So Gate and Dardoch go down. Viper gives up his life, but does pick up another kill in the exchange. And both these teams so evenly matched thus far. Really, really closely played. You've got to wonder if maybe Alorum should have TP'd it earlier, though. You know, this is a pretty late TP. He's only starting now after everyone has already been fully engaged on it. They had some warning that the TP was coming in, but a great engage regardless from Viper. They're able to knock down the first, almost able to get out there, but not quite, as another kill will go the way of FlyQuest.
Santorin secures himself that Ocean Drake. Alorum coming in to try to stop him, maybe throw him off a little bit there, but he's got the smite down. That's going to be 2 Drakes over now to the side of FlyQuest. But I like the fact that even though FlyQuest was behind, they recognized the opportunity to go for that play, and they were willing to go for that play.
Yeah, Viper showing off that killer instinct, right? He has looked good so far on the Aurelia. You've got to say, you know, finding that TP play, looking for the opportunity. They're not willing to just slowly bleed out this game against OpTic, and OpTic, you know, did have full vision control pretty much in that area. So there weren't a lot of places that you could make that TP to, and he goes for the really deep TP play, and it does pay off.
We talked him being about an old school Riven player, and if there's one thing I've seen a lot of in solo queue, Azale, it's my team pushed up too far, getting triple killed by a Riven TP coming from behind. So we're seeing that experience really blossom into something beautiful here on the LCS stage, as OpTic now still command only about an 800-900 gold lead. 24 minutes into this game. It's anybody's match for the taking. Stopwatches, 1, 2, 3, line them up, count them all. It's FlyQuest who have these tools in their pocket now ready to go. We've already seen them be used by the side of OpTic. So now FlyQuest will be the ones who have that little bit of an extra edge. Go in, bait them into something, pop the stasis, and put them in a spot they don't want to be. We'll see how well that works out for them. The Rage Blade also completed on the Turtle. There's that power spike you were talking about.
And it's such an important part of the game, right? Because at 25 minutes, the next fight, if you win decisively, often means Baron, can often mean an inhibitor. These sorts of big objectives are now on the field. So those 3 stopwatches can really pay dividends. And you've also got to note, double Ocean Dragon against the Zoe is going to mitigate a lot of the poke from Crown. If you cannot follow up and actually fully kill someone off, they're going to be regenning very, very quickly.
FlyQuest will try to maintain control over their topside jungle, but OpTic, once again, heavily investing into a lot of wards, multiple control wards being placed down here, moving in, taking the blue, shoving up the mid wave before they do so FlyQuest cannot respond in a decent fashion. And that means that OpTic will earn that blue buff for themselves. Pobelter on the bottom side, he's got the TP available, which means he's going to be the split pusher. He's the guy who has the ability to join the fight even from across the map. Alorum will come down to try to answer that. The POB wants to put some turret damage down.
And I mean, this is the advantage that they kind of get. Yeah, Crown paid the cleanse stacks, right? He did actually grab that summoner to stay alive throughout the laning phase to make sure he didn't get picked on by Santorin and Pobelter. But now they're going to have one less TP to actually answer in the side lane. They don't have, a spellbook TP additionally to grab. They don't have an Ezreal with TP or anything like that. So they're going to try to have to force here, and they're trying to get this TP out of Pobelter.
OpTic saying, all right, let's do the Baron. Let's make this be the bait that forces them into this rotation. But Pobelter is not going to take that bait just yet, staying in the bottom lane, not using the TP. Rest of the team saying, don't worry about it, it's fine. They can't actually take this. And that means now it's OpTic who still have to answer Pobelter.
Yeah, this puts OpTic into a pretty awkward spot, and if multiple people do go back and actually answer, then FlyQuest can move in and reestablish the Baron vision for themselves. So look to see them do this. They now see Alorum on the backside. We'll see if they want to try to move into that area as a team. Not just yet, as OpTic still does have a tremendous amount of vision on that side of the map.
You take my blue, I take yours. Pobelter following the laws of the jungle here, securing that objective from his opponents. You can see the Sterix gauge completed on the side of OpTic there for Dardoch. Used to, you would see the Camille's go for the Warrior, Tiamat, Trinity Force, sort of like more carry style build. These days, Sterix gauge seems to become the more popular option as it's just, I can't carry if I'm dead, so why not pick an item that makes me be dead less?
Yeah,
it's pretty important.
In competitive play, they're not getting to power farm as often, right? They have to cover lanes, they have to play around vision, they have all these other responsibilities. So, Tiamat also made more expensive, so that early buy is harder to pull off. So those things kind of in combination just make this a smart, efficient build and something that most of the players are working towards.
OpTic still controlling this top side of the jungle here for FlyQuest. The battle for Baron vision is eternal post 20 minutes. Neither side wants to allow their opponents that 20-second window of darkness to sneak it away, especially when you've got so much damage potential on both teams. I mean, you've got Camille and Sivir, you've got Sion with his max HP shield that he can detonate, and on the other side, you've got Kha'Zix and Kai'Sa, two of the best Baron takers in terms of damage that there are. So both sides have to be very respectful here, not allow the other to really get too much control over that upper river. Let's take a look at the summoner spells. It's 5 flashes available on the side of FlyQuest. Same can be said for OpTic, so this next team fight is going to be pretty crazy.
Yeah, you can see how hesitant FlyQuest is to actually move in. They spot someone near the Baron, but they don't know if they're on the Baron. They are trying to kind of slowly move up and poke away at some of this vision as Asta and Dardoch show themselves in mid lane. They felt confident to at least try to attack that pink ward, but OpTic has really had a stranglehold on the vision in this area. They're moving forward as a squad once again, clearing out some of this defensive vision that FlyQuest has.
JJ doing a good job there, using the Unstoppable to make sure he doesn't go to sleep after getting hit by the Trouble Bubble. The difference between taking about 10% of your health and damage and 80%.
All of your health.
Yeah, very big difference there in timing that W correctly, so good job on him recognizing exactly when he needs to press that button. Crown going forward, trying to find some more damage here yet again. Unstoppable once again going to be proc. Viper wants to try to go in here. The Ornhorn's going to be sounded. Looking for the knock-up, able to find it onto Crown, but can they go any further? Vanguard's Edge coming out. Crown getting himself away for now. More damage coming through. Redemption channeled now as the stun comes down and Dardoch is gone. But it's going to be a one-for-one trade. Viper falls as well. Alorum into the back line, trying to chase these guys away. But OpTic health bars are low. They cannot follow their frontliner.
Yeah, it is the one-for-one, though. Very close trade. Gate going to use that redemption, actually heal them back up. Maybe that was actually Crown's redemption they picked up. I'm not quite sure, but either way, another very close fight. Crown narrowly able to escape. Asta as well. Both those carries now are without their flash. That is critical as you look over at FlyQuest and you see 4 of the 5 flashes available. Pobelter, Santorin, Wild Turtle and JJ, they could get aggressive and look for this. And we'll see it one more time as Crown, having no ultimate, they know he can't actually dodge out. This was a beautiful Ornhorn there from JJ, actually kicking Crown even after the flash. Then the ult flash comes in from Viper. He wants to follow up, but he just gets CC'd up, locked down. He hit the ult flash, but could never actually use the Blade Surge to kill off Crown because Gate did a beautiful job healing him. Uses his R, ults him up, knocks him up, then Dardoch ulted him in. So really good healing from OpTic, and another close fight. These two teams just, there's almost no difference between them. They're so evenly matched.
Another close fight, another even trade, and another point in the game where I'm checking the gold difference, and it's really not anything measurable.
Yep.
25 minutes into the game, I said we were 800 gold apart. 30 minutes into the game, it's 1.2k, as Turtle's gonna find himself jumped on. JJ's providing some peel. The Ornhorn's gonna separate the two teams to make sure Turtle stays safe. Dardoch thinking about going in, decides to not follow that hook shot deep under enemy line.
In.
TP's going in though, it's Viper showing up, another TP also gonna be channeled. Pobelter behind OpTic, goes over the wall, able to find a lockdown onto two. Viper's gonna be buying some time. It's 2 dead on OpTic, and FlyQuest have found themselves a fight. Viper's looking to dance around, back and forth with the blades flying left and right, as Crown runs away off into the side, and FlyQuest will move towards Baron.
It's deja vu. Pobelter again finding the PP play, coming in behind OpTic, but Crown looking to poke him out, wanting to keep them off this Baron. We'll see if they can do it. There's 3 OpTic members alive. Dardoch is there, so FlyQuest looking to turn, but will be pushed off the Baron for now.
It's so hard to do the Baron with the Zoe still alive. She can fling the paddle stars in there blind, almost guaranteed to hit someone, just because of the way you have to position yourself in that small area. And that means OpTic, although they lose the fight, they avoid a big penalty for doing so. Let's take another look at how FlyQuest set this up.
You know, this is off the back of the flash ult being used by Rakan, so double TP comes in beside. And look at Pobelter kind of playing this game of chicken. Flash lands the root immediately, full combo hitting both members, waits for the spell shield to be used by Asta, then hits his ultimate. That was just perfect from Pobelter. Such a nice flank, and he has been on fire in the first 2 days of LCS. This man is on a mission to prove TL wrong for dropping him.
And remember, when you see a big play, when you see something that really makes you go, oh my goodness gracious, tweet us at LOL Esports using hashtag LCS Big Plays and let us know which one you think is going to be the most game defining. As the Ornhorn is sounded yet again, but Asta with the spell shield going to be blocking that one up. They're looking if they can engage onto Santorin, not going to be able to find him just yet. Stasis coming out for Viper, protecting himself with the Vanguard's edge as well. Damage return now onto the OpTic lines. Alorum taken very low, stunned up front, down. Pobelter, the man who takes him out. Alorum will try to rampage, but a dead body's only going to go so far. He'll fall now again, turned into an ice zombie. Santorin barely getting away from the Zoe. It's a 1-4-0 going the way of FlyQuest.
Crown trying to save him on the back of that fight with all that poke, trying to get a kill for themselves, but Viper again creating so much space, and the use of the stopwatch was massive, despite the fact that he's much less tanky than Alorum. He goes forward with the ult, uses stopwatch to buy time, then is able to dip out, and that buys enough time for the rest of his squad to burn down Sion, winning FlyQuest the fight. So really impressive stuff again here from Viper. Has been looking strong.
Viper on this Irelia has had some very quick feet, some very good moves on this champion. And that's what his fans, the people who knew him as when he was a solo queue player, when he was that Riven one trick. Then as he moves into Academy, yes, he gets to play Riven, but he also starts to dabble more into the real meta champions. This is what you love to see a guy like that on, though. Go back to the roots, go to the high mechanics, high outplay potential champs. And that, what an awesome showing from him so far.
I mean, it spells good things for FlyQuest. If Viper, if Pobelter can perform consistently at this level, I mean, we're only, a game and a bit into the season, but Viper certainly has been surpassing my expectations for him so far this year.
And the mid lane's fun to watch for me this game as well, because both these guys were players who were largely talked about in the scope of Malzahar duty.
Yep.
As we had seen them a lot last year. Exactly. The guy, clear the wave, ult the value target, be the secondary carry. But now, they're both doing a lot of work for their team. We've seen Crown be the one stopping FlyQuest from really running away with the game. Viper trying to get himself out, but he might be caught out now. A lot of damage coming down, and OpTic's got the collapse they need. 5v1. You cannot outplay that.
Yeah, really well-timed Sion ulti there, immuning the Aurelia stun, getting in there with the Unstoppable, then the follow-up from Gate. No stopwatch for that one. Viper goes down, and it's OpTic heading towards the Baron. No team has really had the confidence to commit to it, and doesn't look like they're going to just yet. They're at least going to clear out the vision and establish a zone of control, make it very scary for FlyQuest to check in, knowing that Zoe could be there. But that ward off to the side there is actually saving FlyQuest right now, because they know no one went into the pit. So they don't have to check over towards that Baron pit.
Otherwise, you're staring down the barrel of face-checking Zoe, which is a nightmare, because if OpTic get a second pick, then they do go for Baron.
Okay,
but now the control wards are down. They're saying, all right, this is why FlyQuest wasn't taking the bait. Now, FlyQuest, you do have to go check, because OpTic could be on top of that right now. And there's your gold grab. You can see over time, stayed very even, but slightly in the favor of OpTic, then took a pretty big turn into the favor of FlyQuest, where it's currently sitting about 3,500 in their favor 35 minutes into this game. Santorin moving up, saying, get these control wards out of here. I worked so hard cleaning up the river, and you guys are polluting it yet again.
Garbage man
get
coming
this
in.
Garbage, yeah, get one of those swamp skiff things that eats all the trash. That's a new skin for Kha'Zix. Swamp skiff Kha'Zix eats the trash in the river, keeping everything clean. Go green.
Captain Planet.
Yeah.
Saving the environment.
Mid lane, Crown will keep clearing out these minions. You've got the Morellonomicon, the Banshee's Veil, the Luden's Echo. Zoe is turning into that long-range artillery cannon we know her to be. But what's this, ladies and gentlemen? Keep your eyes on the inventory of FlyQuest, because my man JJ is level 14 now.
Yeah.
And that means big Ornn items are going to be arriving in inventories as he continues to level up. He's already got himself the Enhanced Redemption. He's got his mid laner, the Enhanced Zonias. I don't know the names of these items because
Salvation
I don't normally see them.
Zonia's Paradox have just come through.
The Zonia's Paradox and the Salvation online for these two players, and it's only going to get more extreme. Remember, these items do give you a very nice extra bump power.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at it like a, as we're going to see Engage here in the mid lane.
JJ trying to get himself away, goes after the flash, but they're not looking for him. They're looking to go for Wild Turtle, barely getting himself out of that when the Ornn Horn's going to be used for the counterattack, as now it's FlyQuest looking to make their moves. Santorin behind, Viper on the flank. Turtle's still going to be kept alive, put to sleep, but JJ's blocking. Santorin is knocking right on the front door of OpTic. They found both of the bottom laners. Turtle's going to fall now as well. It's a double kill over to Santorin. He's got Crown, and Pobelter secures the kill in the gate to make this a 1-for-3. It's FlyQuest with the win.
Turtle and JJ delay that so long. The rest of the FlyQuest squad comes in, and now FlyQuest are onto the Baron. This is guaranteed to be theirs, as Alorum is basing. Dardoch is showing in the bottom side of the map. There's no one to challenge for this, and FlyQuest are gonna grab the first significant lead of the game.
FlyQuest have got themselves one hell of a reward for an impressive turnaround on a fight that looked like it could have gone very bad. And JJ did a wonderful job protecting Wild Turtle here. Let's take another look.
Yeah, he really did. Turtle retreating back as far as he can. The Salvation was dropped. The healing not quite grabbed there by Wild Turtle, but he does have the ultimate. He decides to re-engage. A Crown, at least for OpTic, was able to pick up one more kill, but the flank had come in from FlyQuest. They are able to surround them from all sides. Viper, Santorin, Pobelter collapsing in, attacking from all angles and picking up kill after kill after kill. And we are seeing more of these Ornn items come through, so it's not just, you know, the 7,000 or so gold lead that we have there. You have to add in another, 2K or so just in additional stats from those upgraded Ornn items. He's now at 15. He has upgraded the Infinity Edge.
Molten Edge.
Molten Edge, yeah. So
I just looked at that 2 seconds ago.
that counts.
It still counts, exactly. I knew it before I had to say it, which is the important part. Is Alorum is now finding himself eating a little bit of damage here, but that's a 5,000 HP Scion. You don't really catch him out as much as you hit him a couple times to say, well, we tried. Pobelter will continue pushing up here in the mid lane with the Baron Enchanted minions. FlyQuest maintains priority over the mid lane. OpTic forced to take the side route back into their own territory.
And that has forced them away from the Elder, right? This is an Elder Dragon now up, so that is what FlyQuest was doing. You shove up mid, maintain control of that. That forces OpTic to retreat back, clear out the minion waves. Now FlyQuest gets control of this area to set up vision, and they can look for the engage.
The Ornn Horn's going to be sounded. Viper wants to find his way into the entirety of the enemy team. Instead, he's going to be locked up and held down for now. A lot of damage coming through. Dardoch going to be bursted. It's a resurrection coming through on the Viper now as well. Asta taken out. The GA going to be procced. Alorum goes down. A double kill over to Wild Turtle. And it's OpTic completely routed. FlyQuest, all they needed was that Baron, and now they are unstoppable. 3 dead on the side of OpTic. Crown and Gate remain, but this FlyQuest war machine is not stopped.
Turtle stepped on the bubble.
Oh, Turtle, just fine for now. Crown's got to do a lot of heavy lifting to keep hope alive here from the side of OpTic Gaming. FlyQuest continues to push. They've got the minion wave. They've got the Baron enchant. They've got the flash out of the enemy support. They're maintaining distance. Santorin using the void spikes to keep his opponents away. All he's gonna do is buy some time. The Nexus will fall, and FlyQuest will end week 1 2-0.
And despite Crown's best efforts, no way to stop that push from FlyQuest. A really well-played game from them. Back and forth, very hotly contested between these two teams. FlyQuest, though, are looking good, starting out 2-0. Pobelter, a deathless game, critical TP flanks there, and really the whole team did perform. So impressed with especially the top side of the map from FlyQuest. Viper, Santorin, and Pobelter always seem to be attacking those team fights from the right angles, coordinating very well, and Viper did an incredible job actually buying time throughout these fights. You know, he seemed to create more time and take more space than the Scion.
Yeah, and I also want to give credit where credit is due, because at the beginning of the game, I was not convinced by JJ. He had a very rough start to the game. I said he really needs to fix things up, get his head on straight once the mid game comes around, and he did. His initiations were on point. He made sure that he was always hitting multiple people, or at least the people who mattered the most with the ultis. I think FlyQuest once again today displayed a very important factor in being an elite team in competitive League of Legends, just like day one, and that is team play. This wasn't 5 guys who happened to be playing on the same squad making things happen because they're individually talented. This is 5 guys who are all individually talented and work together as a unit.
Yeah, I'm really, really impressed. I mean, as you say, JJ started out 0-4, ends 1-4-13. A damn good turnaround from him, and FlyQuest have got to be really happy.
And for more on that 2-0 start, Avli is standing by with FlyQuest mid laner.
Thanks, Flowers. Pobelter, congratulations on the win on that game, but I want to draw the attention to a specific play that you had yesterday and that Viper had today. Yesterday versus Golden Guardians, you pulled off like this sick flank around the top lane with your Galio, and then today, Viper pulled off almost that exact same flank with Irelia. So are these plays that you guys are practicing in scrims for the big stage?
Yeah.
How hard is it to replicate them on the big stage, I should say?
Well, yeah, I think in practice, we've been a team that's been very good at collapsing and having really explosive team fight engages. I think that's definitely one of our key strengths as a team. So it's cool to see something that we're good at in practice translate to stage for sure.
And focusing more on you, last year you said that you wanted to prove that you were the best mid laner in NA, and you did that by taking mid-tier Team Liquid all the way to the top. And now on FlyQuest, you got to do the whole thing again. But what's going to be different about this experience?
I think it's just really different. Playing with the new jungler is probably the biggest change moving to FlyQuest, because I had played with Xmithy for so long. So trying to build my synergy with Santorin, and then, you know, they have a bit of a different playstyle as well. So I think that's kind of the biggest thing.
What do you think of Santorin so far?
Santorin's pretty great, really aggressive, great mechanics, 9.5 out of 10. That's an old meme. I don't know if anyone caught that, but yeah.
Well, okay, maybe I'm gonna miss the meme. What's the 0.5? Where's the 0.5 missing from?
Oh, it's from like Loco Doco like 5 years ago. He was talking about Santorin, and he said, if Faker is 10 out of 10, Santorin's 9.5 out of 10.
Perfect. Well, thank you for explaining the meme, and Pobelter, congratulations again. And for more on the game, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk. I totally forgot.
Thank you very much, Avli. FlyQuest, our first 2-0 team here in the spring split, taking down Crown and the rest of the OpTic squad. But it didn't come easy, as Azael mentioned there at the tail end of the game. JJ starting it off with 4 deaths. We'll get into those early deaths and the problems that it caused for FlyQuest. Before we do that, I do want to take a look at the team compositions. Yesterday, Crown had himself the Lissandra up against a poking Xerath. This time around, Pobelter takes Lissandra away for himself.
Yeah, and I think overall, I still really like the team comp FlyQuest went for. It's not quite as tanky as the one from yesterday, but it still has a ton of agency and playmaking. Aurelia can make plays, Lissandra can make plays, and they have the Ornn from yesterday as well. So all around, I really like their team comp. OpTic works pretty well as well. They have a lot of engaged tools. They just don't have a ton of follow-up, and they're much more focused on pick.
Right, so a bit more information on that is, so the way that FlyQuest wants to win this game is that they can push out the side lanes because they have double teleport, and then look for a TP flank. So you saw in that game, there's 3 different times where they flanked them because they can get out to the back line, and they can't do anything about that. Whereas on FlyQuest side, for them to win, they have to bring
OpTic has to bring, first clarify,
yeah, the other
side.
way around. So OpTic has to bring FlyQuest into objectives like Baron, because it's really hard to check places where there's no vision against a Zoe. But instead, you saw them sieging towers, and they get punished every time they do that.
Yeah, very much so. Let's go into those early deaths from JJ. Let's look at the hole that FlyQuest, in a sense, dug for themselves here with some aggressive moves early on that get punished.
Right, I actually really like this play. So you know that the Rakan doesn't have flash since he used it earlier. You land a double knockup, you're committed to that fight. Just flash a knockup, you win that lane, they should win that fight. Since he messed up earlier, he dies again later for this, and once again, he could just flash that knockup, and he would live. He's being really greedy with his flashes, and if he just used it, he could change the pace of the game a lot. So Maybe it's a bit of nerves, I'm not sure, but...
Yeah, and it was really scary for this team that you're talking about for OpTic, where they want to get an early lead and then be able to force FlyQuest to walk into them. And once you hand over a number of kills like that, you're kind of setting them up for their game plan, where now they have the gold lead, they'll be at objectives first, and you have to face check this Zoe, this Rakan, this Camille, who can all have insane gap closing.
Yeah, those couple deaths in the river are a perfect explanation or example of what you're talking about. How OpTic wants to force FlyQuest to go check, okay, are they doing the dragon? What's the health at? Should we contest? Next thing I know, I've walked into 3 people and I'm dead. But that kind of fell apart when FlyQuest got to the point in the game where they could set up plays. As Pobelter talked about, he thinks one of the strongest aspects of this team is their ability to start fights and collapse on plays. Here's your first example.
I actually really liked this fight. I think it could have been a bit better had Pobelter just waited like about 1 or 2 more seconds. The Ornn ulti was coming up and I realized a little far. So the general execution here is what FlyQuest wants to do. They TP in from behind, they take a fight, and they take a flank. This happens again. The backline on OpTic has nothing they can do here. They're too far in the lane, they're not in the river, and they're taking a fight where their backline is getting obliterated every single time.
That one was super nice by Pobelter as well. Don't be greedy trying to claw over and save your flash. Just go for the instant flash W, because you know both backline members are together. So I really liked how Pobelter played that second fight.
Right.
And I think it kind of started getting into the minds of OpTic, where like every time that they were pushed up in a lane, suddenly someone's TPing behind them. And it felt like they started to get a little gun shy about like wanting to walk farther forward. And the game kind of stalled out for a period of time, where we saw through mostly farming and map play, the gold lead went from 1,000 in OpTic's favor to 1,000 in FlyQuest's favor.
Right, and you got a sense of maybe the urgency on the side of OpTic once they did start to lose a couple of those fights, where they felt they had to do something, right? Where they felt they had to start fights. And then they're just playing more and more into FlyQuest's plan, as opposed to taking that breath, saying, wait, how exactly do we win? We have to bring them to us. It seems like they lost their way about midway through the game when things started going awry.
Right, so when a team is consistently losing fights in a game, they're like, oh no, we lost that fight. They're like, what can we do? Okay, we need to get a pick. So how do they do that? Let's not charge all the way through 2 turrets mid. Why don't we just go back to Baron, drop some pinks, and make them come check us? But they lost the game because they passed like what, 2 turrets mid and like try to
all the way up to inhib turret almost.
Yeah, you don't catch a Kai'Sa that easily, especially with how far back he is. So just clear out the Baron pit, make them come to you, because you can't go to them.
Those early season mistakes, right, as teams are kind of relearning the macro game with their new team rosters and how to communicate around that stuff. The last thing I want to touch on, as we do have our first 2-0 team, and is playoff picture and playoff chances. An interesting stat that we have for you at home. Teams that have started 2-0 in week 1, 91.6% chance of making it to the playoffs.
And I don't think that looking at this FlyQuest 2-0 is a team that they're going to break that rule, because they are so good in the mid to late game team fight coordination that, like, I don't know who the bottom teams are in the league right now. I think jury's still out, but FlyQuest is a team
Not one of them.
Not one of them, and they play so well as a team that those uncoordinated teams that can't really close games out, FlyQuest will find fights and win. So I'm very confident after this weekend that FlyQuest is looking like a playoff contender.
What about for OpTic? They're 1-1, but they had a solid win yesterday, had a good lead here, just couldn't quite close on that lead to go 2-0 themselves.
Right, so to be fair to them, they do have 4 technically subs, right? They have 4 players from their academy team. So whether this is going to be their main team or not, we're really yet to see, right? So I wouldn't make any judgments on them. Let's wait to see their main roster, and let's see it go from there.
Only time will tell. We're stepping away. When we return, it's Cloud9 versus 1.